How y'all doing? Today, let's do a little video about lock picking. Alright, so, first off, this is a pick that I made based on a design that I found on YouTube. I can't remember which user was responsible for this cutaway, but what we got here is a standard padlock. Here you can see the cylinder and the housing. The thing that's extraordinary about this is that the pin stack is visible from the outside. What this lets you do is it lets you pick it while watching what you're doing. And just for show, I'll get out my tension wrench and my diamond. Now this is technically a left-handed one. Depending upon which side you cut this on, you'll either end up with a left-handed or right-handed lock. I wasn't paying attention when I made it, so now I have a left-handed lock. So here I have a look at the pin stack. Bink. And you can see here that all of the top pins are lined up, so it opens. And that's the whole point, is that you can look at the top pins. So, in the making of this, the steps are pretty straightforward. It just takes some intuitiveness after experimenting. What you do first is you grind off the top here until you can see the inserts where the stacks are plugged up with brass. Then you sand it down until it's good and smooth with various grits of sandstone, and then you remove the caps. You gotta be careful here. A lot of people will use a hacksaw to cut that off, and what they'll end up doing is destroying the springs in the process. So since I didn't want to do that, I got this smooth enough that I could use a little bit of cement and a toothpick and pull out the caps. So the pins, the springs, base pin, key pin all come out. If you have a specific key for this, you'll want to remember the order. But the key should give you a guide to work with so that you know how to line it up based on the heights of the key. Once that's done, you make a cut down the side, whichever side you want, left-handed or right-handed, and you do not violate the pin stack at all, so stay relatively away from it. Then you make a cut here with hacksaw so that you do not violate the cylinder housing, because if you violate the housing here, your pins will fall out and you will not be able to pick it. So you stay away from the housing, and once that's done, you take a file like this guy right here. You smooth this up, you smooth this up. Then you start reducing the metal here until the stack becomes visible that there's an indentation, and you take a hacksaw blade and like a lever, you tear off little pieces down the line of this. Now I've damaged this on accident because I actually cut it using a utility knife and it forced a chunk out. But that's alright. Also during the process when I was doing this, I lost one of the spring and pin combinations, so that just makes me a dumbass. But it's alright. For now this is a 3-pin system. I can come in later to a locksmith and get that replaced. Once you've opened it up by levering out chunks with the hacksaw blade, you have to use one of these. Well, first off, you're drilling some holes. Then, after you drill holes, you'll have a plate that's left over after you have made the first cut from here. And you're going to use that plate as a cap, like I have. This is, I forget what this is called. But what it does is it creates the inner part of a screw's housing. So you do drills in the housing here where you think that there's a lot of meat, Then you come back later with this and you create the splines for a screw. For the cap, you can stick a couple pieces of lead into the holes that you've created and make marks on the cap, and then you drill straight through, and it's alright. This does not have to have any screw lines on the inside. It just has to be small enough so that the screw can pass through it, but it's not so large that this can move around or that it would pass through the head of the screw. And so it's pretty much done. The only other aspect is to pay attention to this here. This part here is keeping the shackle in place, and they'll fly out of the side once you've removed the pin here. This one, which is an extra long pin, it keeps the cylinder in place by sliding into a groove in the cylinder. So those go in the same way. The cylinder goes in, the pins go in, the springs go in, and then you cap it off. Now, aside from using a standard set of picks like this, just for fun, I went ahead and tried making a picking set out of a paper clip. So this is a tension wrench, and you just hold it here like this, and you keep about a feather's weight of tension on it, just as much as you would use in order to turn a key normally. And this is a hook here. And so let's see. I had some luck with it earlier. It's the first time using an improvised device, so you'll have to bear with me here. I think that the second stack is binding up right now. And with that, bam, paper clip. I'll talk to y'all later.